on northern Chester Street. How many times have you driven by the stone enclosure and always wondered what it was?
This is our town pound. Any stray animal was kept in it. 3 cents a day was paid for each cow or horse held in it. This was a very important law, as people survived on their gardens, and if they were trampled, it could mean starvation for the winter. In 1814, an ordinance was passed in Chester that pigs were not allowed to roam in the town, and no animals were allowed in the cemetery. A pound keeper was elected in 1731. This would have been a great job for Buddy Menard. A second pound was built of logs in the center of town in 1773. If you removed the animal without paying, you could be jailed or the whipping post. Yes, Chester had whipping posts and stocks. In Candia's history book, where Candia was once part of Chester, it talks of a whipping post and also stocks in the center of Chester. Often guideposts were used. An offense could be as little as swearing in public. Sure glad they didn't hear my video bloopers. Speaking of law enforcement, this is a great photo. Did you know that there was once a jail cell in the basement of Stevens Memorial Hall? This photo is dated 1959. This is another great photo given to the Chester Historical Society by Holly Rapkett. It was a square negative that Don Brown had made into a photo. It shows the GAR, which stands for Grand Army of the Republic, marching down Raymond Road in front of the cemetery on Decoration Day, which was later named Memorial Day. The 1892 map shows an evaporator was on the property of now what is the Legion Hall on Raymond Road. It burned down in 1902. The uninsured factory owner was Charles Wilcombe. It was one of the few industries employing Chester's residents. Local farmers supplied Wilcombe with all the apples he needed. The Baldwin was the largest variety in Chester. The successful factory had 3 long kilns. The apples were dried by steam heat to be stored for commercial sales and home use. The skins and cores were sent to Boston to be made into jelly, and the rotten apples, they were shipped to France to be made into wine. Ice was harvested on most all the Chester ponds and put into ice houses. The ice was then packed in sawdust to keep the ice frozen. Wilson Wells, that ran the general store, kept his meats on ice. He opened an ice cream parlor, which was a rare treat in the 1800s. Enough ice had to be harvested to last until the following winter. Before refrigeration in the 1800s, ice was delivered to your home. The iceman carried the ice using tongs like these into the back door and filled your cooler, which was called an ice chest. Homes in Chester were not locked, and the iceman just walked in and delivered. The owner placed a cardboard card like this in the front window of their home. It was turned, indicating by the number on the top how much ice to deliver. How did carriages and wagons manage getting around Chester before snowplows? The snow was rolled with what was called snow rollers. Caskets were carried sometimes for miles to a cemetery. In 1827, Chester purchased 2 hearses, one kept in the center of Chester and the other in what is now Auburn. I do not have a photo of Chester's hearse, but this is what one would look like. The Chester News in 1891 wrote that the Old Town hearse had grown so shabby that it was only appropriate to use as a float in a parade of horribles on the 4th of July. That year, voters approved a new hearse. Chester paid an undertaker of Chester $2 each time he drove the hearse. In 1895, he made 21 trips and pocketed $42 at the end of the year. A hearse house was built to protect the vehicle from elements. The hearse was sold in 1929 to Albert Warren for $15. The dead were mourned in their own homes. Most houses had what was called a coffin door, which was a straight shot into a room without any twists or turns. Fremont Historical Society is lucky enough to have a hearse and a hearse house. Look for Fremont's open houses to view it. President Matthew Thomas will show you the doors on the bottom, which drained the ice to keep the bodies cold.